Okay, so I will be talking about the pros and cons of joining Greek life today. So at this time, if you would pull up my PowerPoint and if you could follow along with the PowerPoint. So first, I'll start off by talking about the death of Timothy Piazza. Um, as you can see in the picture, he was a football player at Hunterton Central Regional High School. He ended up rushing because he felt like he could join the fraternity and keep up with his grades. And he was an engineering major, and in the fraternity that he joined, Beta Theta Pi, there were also a lot of engineers. So he felt like that would be a benefit. So the story of Timothy Piazza and his death was he was at a house party and he fell down a flight of stairs, and one member walked up to him and wanted to help, but was ignored. And at this point, Timothy Piazza is highly intoxicated from all the alcohol he is forced to drink in a short amount of time. So he's highly intoxicated and he has a large cut, a large scar on his stomach that he um, endured through the fall. So he went probably about an hour just totally unconscious because he got up and walked around and was knocked unconscious. He was left like that for about an hour. And then his brothers started to realize that he had serious injuries. So when they took him to the hospital, he went into a state of shock and it was unrecoverable. So he wasn't able to recover from that shock and he died. So the chapter was closed and 26 members were charged. 8 of them were prosecuted with involuntary manslaughter and 14 others were charged with other hazing, and a few others were just charged with other minor incidents. But yes, so 26 members were charged, and this whole incident sparked a national conversation about Greek life and whether it should be continued, and it got a lot of there was a lot of controversy and a lot of criticism over Greek life. So if you go to the next slide, the pros of Greek life, social networking. So I joined a fraternity, ATO at Kansas, and the main reason was to join a brotherhood and for social networking. So the main thing that's usually talked about with fraternities, sororities, Greek life is the connections you'll make for life, and that is true. So students in Greek organizations report lower levels of loneliness and depression according to a study done by Marlene and Hovenstein. So that is a pro. So you got lower levels of loneliness and depression. That's because you're in a house with a lot of other people who have the same goals and same visions in mind as you, and they can help you solve problems. They're always there for you. They're references. They're there to help you. They provide support systems where people rely on each other. Like I said, they're there to help you. It's a brotherhood. And a fraternities is a sisterhood and sororities. And for freshmen, incoming freshmen, it's a way to make friends and get to know people. So if you go to the next slide, another pro of Greek life is leadership experience. As you can see here, many fraternities and sororities raise money for different charitable causes. In this picture, a group of TKE, pronounced Teak, brothers raised over $50,000 to the Alzheimer's Foundation. Many people who are members end up becoming leaders. In fact, 80% of Fortune 500 executives, as well as 76% of U.S. senators and congressmen, have been part of Greek organizations. So Greek life helps, it really helps build leadership skills and responsibility as well, and working with other people. Now, if you go to the next slide, the cons of Greek life. Hazing. That's a big one. So in my fraternity, there actually is no hazing, and it's very rare that it's like that. Almost all the fraternities haze, and so Greek life has the highest rate of hazing, and even more than varsity sports teams and club sports teams. So hazing can range from being forced to drink excessively, wearing inappropriate clothing, doing humiliating things, or even being cursed or yelled at. Many members, when asked why they haze, in a study done by Allen and Madden, members said they do it because it's sacred and make members feel like they are a part of a tradition or something greater than themselves. And another problem with hazing is that it is not defined by the law. In fact, 6 states do not even have anti-hazing laws. Hazing is a felony only if it results in a death/serious injury in 10 states. So it is not taken as seriously as it should be in some states. If you go to the next slide, the cons of Greek life. Still, alcohol and drug abuse, 4 times higher risk for binge drinking and drug use. 83% of Greek housing residents are affected by other people's drinking negatively, and not much supervision in Greek housing. I can confirm this. It's very true. I choose not to do this myself, but it is very true. Drinking is so common because members live in the same house and it's hard to say no. And 83% of people who live in Greek housing have been negatively affected by someone else's drinking. So the summary, there are both pros and cons. Students need to decide whether joining is worth the pros and cons based on what they value. Students need to figure out what they want out of their college experience and what they value. I think a lot of people in fraternities and sororities, they have this mindset that these 4 years are the best of your life, and after this, life goes downhill. I disagree. I think if you take care of business and you do what you need to do in these 4 years, you can have life only goes up from here. So students need to be aware of the risks of hazing as well as alcohol and drug abuse. Lawmakers, students, parents, and university officials need to have conversations about these issues. And so, yeah, that is it. Thank you for listening. If you go to the next slide, there's my works cited. And thanks.